Hi, it's Mr. Tush over at Global, and we're talking about 2C for the AP exam create task. 2C or not to see? Yes, it is a tough question. In fact, it's one of those questions where you have to be super strict with yourself. When you do this, realize that the AP test has 8 points in it, and 3 of those 8 points are for this question, 2C alone. And it's a binary rubric, which means for each of these points, it's either there or it's not. You don't get any partial credit for getting halfway there. You have to write the app to the expectations, not the other way around. So if you don't think you need a nested algorithm and you think your app is done, realize that they expect an app that requires a nested algorithm. You have to, if you don't think your program needs something, you must write the code that the app requires. Now, what you're going to submit is you're going to submit program code, and the program code is going to be a picture of very specific code as it's called for, and you're going to write a written response to every part of the question. You are going to give us pictures of your code. Now, first thing you see right when you read 2C is it says it has to be fundamental to the program. What that means is the program cannot do its thing without the algorithm you wrote. It's fundamental. The program doesn't run right without it. Has to be developed independently. What that means is you write your own algorithm and somebody else writes their algorithm. It has to be written together. Now, it has to be your work. Let's go over what independently developed means. It has to be your work. It can't be another version of something you grabbed online. And it can't be just like your partner's independent algorithm. They have to be different. For example, and here's example 1. Partner A writes an algorithm to check for a correct answer within the first part of the app. And partner B writes an algorithm to check for a correct answer in the second part of the app. Well, that would actually be incorrect because both algorithms, as you can see, are checking for an answer. They're doing fundamentally the same thing. So you can't write the same algorithm and each take credit for it. However, let's look at a rewrite of example 1. Partner A writes the algorithm to check for the correct answer in the first part of the app. And then partner B writes the algorithm to change the movement of a sprite based on a user input. And it's a nested algorithm, it uses math and logic, but it does something completely different. That would be acceptable. So that's how to get that up to acceptable. Each person must have all of the following things. So the first thing they have to have is you have to have the appropriate code. So make sure you've pulled your code into your snippet. And this is different from number 3 where you're going to put in all of your code. This is just the algorithm. Then 2, you're going to have 2 or more algorithms working independently and together. You have to be able to say both of those things, working independently and together. So let's take a look at what that means. And they have to involve math or logic. So if you look at this particular example, this is an equal sign, it's a math block. You are using a math concept. Then you have to be able to describe it. You have to describe how each algorithm within your selected algorithm functions independently as well as in combination with others to form a new algorithm that it helps achieve the intended purpose of the program. So this is one gigantor algorithm. There's a lot of little algorithms inside of it. So what I do is I write this, the first algorithm is an if-then-else block that functions independently by evaluating the user's response to determine whether it says sit. If that returns false, the else fires another independent if-then-else statement evaluating whether the answer was lay. The algorithm is essential to the program because it provides the user with the ability to choose blah, 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 and on. And I'll go fix that typo up there. But you get the idea that you have to explain this thing. And they also, each person has to do this on their own in fewer than 200 words. So let's go through that together. It's a checklist. And you have to be able to check off all of these. First of all, is it fundamental to the program doing its thing? Secondly, is it something I developed on my own? I didn't count on anybody else to do it. Third, is it have 2 or more algorithms? In other words, we often call these nested algorithms because they all work together. 4, does the algorithm include math or logic blocks? That's essential. And then finally, is this something I can explain to the College Board? If you say no to any of these, keep writing or do a different app because that you have to say yes to all 5 to get the 3 points required for that. And then finally, in case you're wondering about that crazy image on the first slide, it's actually a reference to Shakespeare's Hamlet. That's the play that gave us one of his most famous lines, to be or not to be, that is the question. It's less a reference to the stress of the AP exam and much more because your teacher is fond of really bad puns. I hope that helped you with your 2C answer, and thank you for watching.